Hi folks, hope everybody's okay and love to everybody. Just got a bit of time spare and so just wanted to share one or two things. Um, like I said, I'm taking a rest. I've not made any videos much. I've made maybe one or two, which is a rest for me because normally I make loads of videos. But I am resting, believe it or not. Um, and anyhow, I want to just talk a couple of things, really, just general chit chat about what's been happening and things like that. Um, what's been happening? My auntie, um, which I'm quite upset about, is going in for an operation, a keyhole surgery tomorrow. She's been okay. Um, it's an aneurysm of the brain, and there's a blood vessel been burst in the brain, and she kind of on I think it was Tuesday became all confused, and they took her in, and then she'd been transferred to another hospital, and she's been sitting up and she's been fine, but the last today she's gone a little bit um, a little bit confused again, and she's having the operation in the morning. So I'm pretty worried about it, and so if you could pray about my auntie, I'd be very, very grateful. Um, so that's the bit on my mind today. Um, I have really enjoyed going on some various Hangouts with atheists. Really enjoyed that. There've been atheists that have PM'd me, and I've gone on their Google Hangouts, and they've been great. So I have this issue with cyberbullying with some atheists. There's a small group of atheists. There's about 6 or 7, and a couple of them run YouTube channels, and it seems to be that they have these YouTube channels where all they seem to do is talk about me. And so it's a kind of group that are kind of fixated with me, and they've caused me a lot of problems. Um, and they've really caused me a lot of heartache. And nobody's taken, only a few people have taken me seriously about it, but they have taken liberties, really, and there's nothing much I can do about it. Um, but I have, but what I'm saying is that's not representative of the vast majority of atheists that I've been meeting recently. I've been on a couple of Google Hangouts and uh, talking to atheists, and it's been great, really. It's been really nice. So I've still got this problem with these people, and I think that it's online cyberbullying is not just an issue with atheists. I think it's also an issue with some Christian channels and other channels. So I am gonna, well, I am working on trying to get something sorted. Um, I'm gonna try and develop some kind of um, I'm going to try and do something about it. Cyberbullying, not just with atheists, but generally on the internet. So I'm just collecting signatures and just getting people's awareness, reading articles, talking to people, and I'm just going to take my time, and then I'm going to submit a report to some politician. But it's not just about atheism, it's about cyberbullying generally, because like I said, most atheists are fine that I'm talking to at the moment, you know, so that's something that I feel is important. I've been reading articles of young people committing suicide because they've been cyberbullied. An officer, I think an army officer recently committed suicide, or somebody last year in the army, because of cyberbullying and stuff like that. So it's a serious thing. I think maybe I could help to develop some kind of awareness about that. So, but it's still an ongoing problem. I don't know what to do about it. It causes me a lot of distress. One or two atheists have just told me to ignore it. Other atheists have befriended me. Other atheists have invited me onto Google Hangouts. So people are trying to help in their own way and trying to encourage me, and I appreciate that. And you know, some atheists have actually spoken out publicly to these people that they feel that what they're doing is just not fair. It is a sort of bullying. So, but it seems to me that their influence isn't very big and is waning for whatever reason. So hopefully either they'll peter out, or maybe some other atheists will have a word with them. I don't know. Or maybe in the future we can change things generally about cyberbullying. So it's a project that I'm going to be working on anyway. What else is there? Like I said, I've had a few chats with Christians and atheists on Skype, which I've enjoyed. And like I said, I am taking time out. So that's just some of the things. I was quite shocked today with coming on YouTube, a video of mine that I did challenging Bill Nye to an academic debate, which I did tongue-in-cheek just for a bit of fun. It's just a bit of a laugh. I wasn't particularly serious about it. I really want to debate Matt Delonte, and I didn't think I have or I don't think I have a cat in hell's chance of debating Bill Nye. But the shock was that the video that I made within a day has just jumped from a few hundred to 2,300 people views. So I don't know what's happened there, but there's been a massive interest in this video, and I've made silly comments under it, just having a bit of a laugh. But people don't seem to get it that I'm just having a bit of a wind up, but it seems as if there's a lot of interest in it. And then to top it all, I got a Skype from Bill Nye. Now I don't think it's Bill Nye. At least I don't think it is Bill Nye. But somebody's Skyped me, or wants to be my Skype, called Bill Nye, and it's got a picture of Bill Nye. So, you know, so for a wind up under the video, I said Bill Nye's contact me, you know, just having a bit of a laugh, and I need a press secretary and all that. So I'm just having a bit of a laugh, but so I don't know if more interest is going to gather on that video, but it's gone from a few hundred to like 2,300 views within a day and a half. So somebody's spreading it around, or I don't know. There's a lot of interest in it. But I made a serious debate challenge to Matt Delonte, and that's a very serious debate challenge, and I would really dearly love to debate him. I think that Matt Dillonty would lose. I think he wouldn't have a cat and nails chance of beating me in debate. But the same goes for Bill Nye as well. I don't think Bill Nye would have a cat and nails chance in beating me. Because we're debating on the resurrection of Christ, and I'm serious now. If Bill Nye does ever see the funny video, this is the serious video. But I really mean this, and this is very, very serious. I have done 100 scholarly videos on the historical Jesus studies. I have written a paper, and I have had 2 academic debates which I didn't lose. I've won. And not only won, but won very comfortably. So I'm not scared of Bill Nye, because if I'm debating on the resurrection of Christ, has he done any scholarly writing or videos on the historical Jesus studies? Does he know anything about that kind of stuff? Bill, I don't think you do, mate. So I'm just asking Bill, you're the science guy, I'm the Bible guy. So I'm asking for a very serious academic debate on the resurrection of Christ. I'm a bit of a character. I am well known amongst the atheists, and I do like a bit of fun. You see, if you're really good, and I mean this, if you're really good at what you do, you can afford to be silly and have a laugh. I'm really good at what I do. I'm a good preacher, and I know my subject when it comes to historical Jesus studies. So I don't take myself too seriously. You know, the best people who are best at what they do don't take themselves seriously. And when it comes to the Bible, I'm one of the best. I don't take myself too seriously. But when push comes to shove, if you want to debate me on the resurrection of Christ, then I'll step up to the challenge. So I'm challenging you, Bill Nye, to an academic debate on whether Jesus Christ rose from the dead. I'm challenging you for that debate because I feel that I don't think you'd be able to beat me, and I think I'll be able to show you that Christianity does have the evidence. So if you want to take me up on the challenge, I'd be very grateful. I know you're a busy person, I know you're famous, but at the end of the day, you didn't win that debate with Ken Ham. You were able to swing the audience. I know you got 90% of the vote or whatever, but you never give any evidence for mutation, and that was the main issue. You were able to just put in a bit of maths and a bit of saying about evolution can predict things, and we can do predictions with it, and you were able to wing it by saying that quite often, and also using scare tactics, saying if you don't go for my understanding of things, then the American economy is going to be really bad. If we go down the creationist way, it's going to mute scientific innovation, you know, which is pretty deplorable kind of argumentation. But I give you that you were pretty effective in some ways, and you were able to swing it 90 to whatever it was, 90 to 10% of the vote. So, but it was not a very good debate that you had with Ken Ham. He was not at his best, and to be honest, I don't think you were at your best. I don't think you did a very good job. I was pretty bored in the debate because I'd heard the same arguments from both sides, and I just thought it was a pretty poor performance from you both. I, on the other hand, have never lost an academic debate. I've had 2 academic debates with 2 formidable opponents. Negation of P is pretty good in some ways, but he lost the debate, and I had a debate with DPR Jones. Now DPR Jones lost the debate, but he just didn't take it seriously. He could have come and made things a lot harder. I think if he'd have come prepared, the best that he could prepare himself, it would have been a draw, but he didn't take it seriously, so he got annihilated. But maybe next time he might come up trumps. The point is, Bill, you've got the media on your side, and the media think the science guy knows what he's talking about. But I challenge the media, the American media, and I challenge you to an academic debate on whether Jesus Christ rose from the dead. Now, there are two world authorities on the minimal fact approach of apologetics. There is Gary Habermas. I've literally read everything on his site. I've listened to all his debates and I've read his PhD. The other world authority on the minimal fact approach is Licona. I've listened to all his debates, read all his articles, and I have his main book, which I've read once and nearly gone through twice. So I reckon that probably in the world today, I'm probably, and I'm not just saying it, but I'm probably a world authority on the minimal fact approach of apologetics, and I don't say that lightly. I've recently mastered Greg Banson's presuppositional apologetics. So I'm willing to have an academic debate with you on Jesus Christ rise from the dead. I ask that if you are interested in the debate, that you would that we would have that DPR Jones would be the moderator. I kind of like DPR Jones. I kind of feel when he's around, I kind of feel like secure. I don't know why. When DPR Jones is around, I kind of feel secure because I know that everything will be all right on the night when DPR Jones is there. So if he could be the moderator, that would be great. And the venue that I would suggest would be New Covenant Group. Now, they would absolutely love to get you on their show. And you've got nothing to lose. It's just, you could just make another creator look a silly fool. On the other hand, if you don't step up to the mark, then you've got everything to lose, because America will know that there is a God and that Jesus Christ rose from the dead, and they need to repent. And you've got a lot to lose, because that's what's going to happen. America will see through the shallow scholarship that you presented on that academic debate that you had with Ken Ham. So the debate challenge is there. I don't think you'll take it up because I think you're a coward. I think you're a coward. And I think that what you did really with Ken Ham is you just came in to that debate and you winged it with a little bit of mathematics, a little bit of scaremongering, a little bit of charisma, and you kept on the bandwagon that you wanted to push, and you just about won it. But you won't get away with it with me, because you're on my turf, you're on my subject, and I know my subject 1,000 times better than you. So if you want to take me on, Bill Nye, come and take me on. But if you take me on, I can guarantee you will get annihilated. Alright? And I'm not messing about, and I'm not trying to get attention, I'm just telling you the way it is. You are no match for me in an academic debate on did Jesus Christ rise from the dead. But if you want to call my bluff like you called Ken Ham, then go ahead, make my day. So that's the debate with you, Bill. I would like to debate you. I think you are an honourable person. I do think you do have integrity. and in a way you would be doing me an absolute favour to do the debate. There's no doubt about it. But I'm just telling you the way it is, the facts of the case, that I know my subject, you don't know the subject, so you will be at a disadvantage in the academic debate on the resurrection of Christ. So if you fancy a challenge, then come and have a go. But what I found with you, atheist, if you can't win, you kind of just make sure you disappear, or some of them trying to do ad hominem attacks rather than actually deal with the actual argumentation. So that's a serious offer, Bill. That's a serious offer to you, New Covenant Group, and to you, DPR Jones. So the ball's in your court. If you want to do it, fine. That video that I made, Bill Nye and the 3 brilliant debates, it's just a bit of fun. You gotta, with Jay, there's got to be a bit of fun. I'm highly entertaining. So that offer's there for you anyway, Bill. And if you want a bit of fun, if the science guy wants to meet the Bible guy, then I'm happy to come and show you what real scholarship's all about, bro. Okay, so that's you, Bill. I wish you all the best, and hope you're okay. Hope your family are okay, and just let me know if you're interested. I'll leave it to the New Covenant Group to sort it out if they are interested in such an exchange. We could have a 2-3 hour. We could have a debate, me and you, for 2 hours, and then have 2 hours, just a general discussion with the New Covenant Group and DPR Jones. If that's the case, I'd like 2 other people. If there is a discussion group afterwards, I would like to at least 2 other 3 people on my side with me. I'd like Justin Seegers with me, and Saitem Brugengate, and Bible Thumping Wingnut, and Matthew 14 with me in the discussion with New Covenant Group after the debate that me and you have, if we have a debate. So the ball's in your court. So I'll leave that with you, and I'll leave that with New Covenant Group and DPR Jones if they're up for the challenge. That would be on the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Did Jesus Christ rise from the dead? And does that prove that Christianity is true? So you would be hit by a broadside of presuppositional apologetics and minimal facts apologetics. I'll be giving the minimal fact stuff, and Justin Seegers and Sai and others will be giving you the presuppositional approach on the night. So I'll leave that with you. It'll have to be in a couple of months' time.
Hello.
Hi, mate. How you doing? What's your position, bro?
My position?
Yeah, are you atheist or Christian?
I don't know if I'm a Christian, but I don't know what there is, man. I'm not a self-proclaimed atheist by any means.
All right. What's your name, mate? Skylar.
Skylar.
How you doing, bro? You okay?
I'm doing fine. Just got off of work, came home to relax.
Of course,
enjoying Google Hangouts, my fave. So
I like your cap, mate.
Which one?
I like your cap. Your cap.
Oh, my cap. Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it, brother. How's your day going?
Yeah, it's not too bad. Well, it's not. No, it's not been too good. I've got an auntie in hospital, and she's having an operation tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, so she's having keyhole surgery tomorrow, so I'm quite worried about that. And I had to get the exhaust fixed today, so I've been drinking cups of tea in a Polish cafe, waiting for the car to get fixed all day.
Oh, no.
What about you, bro?
I just got off of work. It was a nice day at work. 7:30 till about an hour ago. So it's been now I'm home to relax. Get off tomorrow. Can't complain. Can't complain.
Oh wow. So are you American?
I am. Yeah, I'm from Florida, man.
I love Americans, bro.
Oh, I'm in Disneyland, man. The area where Disney is, Disney World.
Wow, awesome, man. Yeah. Have you ever heard of R.C. Sproul?
No.
He's a American theologian. I think he's based in Florida, and he's got Legionnaire Ministries over there. So it's a really good ministry, mate.
I used to go to. Well, I've been to a couple different ministries. I used to be a part of one called Calvary Assembly, and
Oh,
then it was in a church that would be similar, I guess, similar to like a Pentecostal church, but not full blown Pentecostal by any means.
wow. So what's your background, Skylar? What was you a Christian or are you Christian?
Yeah, I guess I would have considered. Yeah, I mean, I considered myself a Christian. Yeah, I mean, I prayed and I
Yeah,
followed the word, and I mean, I offered God my soul, Jesus my soul, and
yeah, yeah,
you know, I don't think it's impossible there's a God or anything like that. But I've just my beliefs have become more nuanced, and
yeah,
I think I'm just not one of these people that subscribe. Like I could believe that the Bible has a message in it, that there's a message. I'm just not a literalist. I don't believe that this is the exact word of God. I think the meaning could be there.
yeah, yeah,
Most of the time, I find myself thinking God better than some of the stuff that I read. I don't know if that makes any sense.
yeah,
It's not, it's never. I'm never really. It's most of the time I'm just thinking better of him. It's not that I think worse of him. I'm not like one of these atheists who blame God for all. I had a bad day. Let me blame God. It seems silly to me as
yeah,
far as that goes. And I'm not an atheist by any means. I mean, I mean, if you were to ask me, I guess a very light agnostic,
yeah,
very very light.
yeah, yeah.
If I don't know, I don't know. I can't. I'm not going to say some definitive answer.
Yeah. Anyhow, I like your Skylar. I like your style, mate. I
Appreciate that.
like your style, bro. What's happening in America at the moment? What's going down over your way? Anything interesting?
Florida, not much, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty boring, to be honest with you. I guess sometimes boring's good though, man. There's no problem when it's boring.
What's the weather like over there?
Oh, I'm in Florida, man. We're like 80 degrees, dude, this time of year.
Yeah. Oh wow.
It's never bad, man. In Florida, we don't get like winter. Like we get it drops. We have days where we might have to wear a sweater every once in a while. But by no means do I ever have to wear a jacket or anything like that. It's the good life, man. It's the good life in Florida.
Sounds good, bro. So,
Yeah.
what politics are you? Are you like Obama or whatever else?
I mean, it's the better of the two halves over here. Like if I were to say between the two parties, I'm not a big Democrat by any means. Like I guess I lean libertarian in a lot of ways.
Yeah, yeah.
But except for the social health care, I think we should have social health care in the country. But
Yeah.
other than that, I'm pretty libertarian when it comes to everything.
So if you had to explain to an English person who doesn't fully understand American politics, how would you describe it?
Oh, it's a train wreck, man. It's the best way to describe it. There's no. It's all bought by the corporations, man. Everything's about money over here.
Yeah,
We have so many problems. The problem is we don't have term limits when it comes to our politicians, and then we basically allow corporations to donate endless amounts of money to our political system. So, and then people are ignorant over here. They don't follow enough politics. They don't understand it enough. So it's like everybody hates Congress, but they love their own representative. It's kind of the problem. So nothing ever changes, man.
wow, wow.
It's getting better. I mean, it's not. Like I said, our major thing is like we need healthcare, man. We need universal healthcare. We need some kind of there's just basic things. We have a little bit of a police state going on too in certain areas. The drug war is a little over the top over here.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem as far as I'm concerned.
What's the police state? What's that all about, Skylar?
Well, like think about it like everything's become criminal. Like it's like a nanny state where it's like we have constantly being invasion of the NSA on our on all of our internet.
Yeah.
Hacking of our computers. I mean, the drug war. I mean, you're talking,
Yeah.
Instead of treating drugs, we're arresting everybody for drugs. I mean, we have, 25% of the world's population, what is it? Where I think we have 25% of the world's population and then something like 70% of the world's prison population in our country.
Yeah.
So it's absurd. We barely have anybody here, but we have the highest prison population. And it's because we just keep prosecuting drug users or small-time drug dealers, in a sense.
Yeah.
And that money's got to come from somewhere to pay for these prisoners.
Yeah.
And then what are they going to do? They're going to go to jail. And then if they get out, if they get on parole, most likely they may reoffend if they do something small, or they can't get a job because now they're trying to get a job. They have to apply. You got to do a background check. They might do a like a financial record check, like I forget what the term for it is, but they can check your economics to see how you are fiscally. Credit check.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like it's things like that, man. It kind of screws over the Americans, man, pretty much. And I mean, like I said, you can get arrested for nothing, and it's not all the time. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not that bad. Like I don't have to worry about walking out of my house and just getting arrested for something stupid,
Yeah. Yeah.
But because of the laws we have, and we've militarized our police basically. Like it used to be, the only people who had those big weapons and stuff were the military.
Yeah.
Now they have like armored Humvees, machine guns. It's just people can't protest, and you can protest, but you're more likely to cause a riot. I don't know. It's craziness, man.
Yeah.
I heard the UK, it's a lot better, man. Is it a little bit more really back in the UK? Or?
Yeah, it's not like that, mate. You don't have Humvees or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as that, bro.
Well, it's weird with the guns. It's one of those situations now that there's so many guns, there's no point to try to get rid of them. Like, it just doesn't work at this point. Gun regulation is so... I mean, I'm not for people having like AK-47s or having machine guns or anything like that. But at this point, like if you tried to take away the guns, it would be pointless. You'd cause more problems than you would achieve.
Yeah. So, does every American feel that that's their right to have a gun if they want one?
No, it's oh yeah, everybody. I think everybody agrees with most people. Yeah, I would say most people. But the problem is you have a lot of people that are in the middle that are kind of like, yeah, you should be able to own a gun, but you should have to register it. You should be able to. There should be limitations. You shouldn't be able to have automatic weapons.
Yeah.
And the party, our Republican Party over here, doesn't want any kind of legislation on it. Like they don't want to limit you at all. They want less limitation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's the problem. Like, it's basically an all or nothing situation now. So it's like you don't have a lot of people who are like, let's ban guns. That's not at all the opinion. I mean, it's a small minority, probably like 5%.
Yeah.
Would say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the problem is you have one party, the Republicans, who will not bend. I mean, they wouldn't even allow, like we have like what they're called is like gun show fairs, right? Where you go to like a fair or like a gun show, and you don't have to do a registration fee. You don't have to do a background check. You can go buy a gun, take it home, no background check to see if you were a criminal, have mental issues, anything like that. These people can just grab a gun and go home with it.
Damn, man.
It's terrifying, man. It's but you got to remember. Here's the thing to remember. Even with that said, okay, I think something like last year, the amount of gun deaths. Or something like, I don't want to misquote this. I think it was like, let's say I'll be generous. We'll say there was 20,000 gun deaths in this country. Okay. Now our population is 240 million, so we're talking less than 1%. We're talking a fraction of 1%.
Yeah.
Now, of that 1%, okay, or that fraction of 1%,
Yeah.
70% of those murders with guns were suicides. Okay.
Wow.
The second highest would be gang related. So it would be the gangs, but that's only in certain areas of the country. It's very limited, maybe 10%.
Yeah.
And then some of it's just accidents. So it's just because of the way the media is. So there's a school shooting or something major happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sensationalized it. The problem is we just have nutsos who decide to go into schools and start doing school shootings or something, and there's unfortunately just not a way to stop it.
Yeah.
Maybe there is, I just don't know. Maybe it's.
Wow. Yeah. On healthcare, so like on the average person on healthcare in America. So let's say you was working in your work and you slipped on the floor and you had to go to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean for the average American? Like, how does that work? For us, it's just free. We just go and it's all free.
Yeah, I wish it would. No, not here. Okay, so if you got injured, there's two different situations. If you got injured at work, you're going to be under workers' comp. Like the business has to pay for it. But let's say you weren't. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
So if you were injured in a place that wasn't work, and you didn't have health insurance, you're going to get billed for it. Now, you may never have to pay that off, but it's going to go into a debt, and you're going to pay a fortune. Like, if I took an ambulance one time when I was younger, and it ended up costing me something like $10,000 to go for 2 miles in an ambulance.
You're joking.
No, yeah, absolutely. Most of the bankruptcies in this country come from healthcare situations. 70% of them is because of medical bills they can't afford to pay. And our Republican Party over here is so anti-government doing anything that they're not willing to do anything about it, basically. So, and then the Democrats are kind of pro-business too. They're not. They're just a little less conservative. Hey, I might have to run for a minute. My wife's coming home with a kid. I'll try to come back in about 5 minutes. Okay?
Good to talk to you. If you can't, don't worry about it. But hey, Brent, it's great to talk to you, bro.
Yeah, we'll talk more about religion next time, too, because I got some thoughts. I'd love to hear some of your stuff.
All right, mate.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
Take care, mate. Okay, that was Skylar. That was good to talk to Skylar. Skylar, you're a cool dude, mate. Like you, bro. Anyhow, like I was saying, the debate offer's there for Bill. If you want to... If it can all be arranged, great. If it can't be arranged, don't worry about it. I'm only a small fish in the pond, so I don't expect Bill Nye to take any notice of me. But you never know; it could be a really good opportunity to have a good discussion. Justin Seegers is brilliant. We all know Cy and Bible Thumping Wingnut and Matthew 14. I think we'd have a good time, and people get to see a really good team come together and talk on the New Covenant group. And I think Bill Nye and any other atheist on the show would not find it as easy as they found it with Ken Ham. But me and him could have a bit of a debate first. But anyhow, that's up to the New Covenant group to get that sorted, and DPR Jones if he ever wants to get involved. Anyhow, so we'll leave that aside. So, what else is there? Yeah, I love America, I've always loved America. I love Americans, and any Americans welcome on this show, alright? Americans rock. What else is there to talk about? Yeah, I was in doing some evangelism on Monday and Tuesday. I was in Liverpool, Liverpool University. Liverpool University, talking to students. There were 3 of us. Got into a conversation with an atheist who's read Hitchens, Sam Harris, and Dawkins. And it was interesting. He said religion is just a lot of rubbish, etc. And I just asked him. I said, look, you're saying there's no evidence for the existence of God. I said, have you got a criteria? for investigating miracles. I said, if there's a miracle that takes place in history, what criteria you've got? And he said, I haven't got a criteria. I said, well, how can you be taken seriously if you don't have a criteria? So I had a little debate with him, and it was good in Liverpool. And then I had another chat with another atheist in Liverpool, in the city centre. We went in the city centre. There was 4 evangelists, and he kind of thought that Japan was proof that we don't need God. He was saying that in Japan, they're secular and they get along fine. And he felt that was his argument, that there is no God. So I just talked about presuppositional apologetics to him, and I think it made him think anyway. Then I spent some time in Sheffield on Tuesday, Sheffield University. Hiya, bro.
Hey, I got a couple more minutes before dinner, so I thought I'd come back for a couple of minutes. That was a good conversation.
Go on, mate. If you want to talk about something, I was just talking about my trips to different universities on Monday and Tuesday, but that's another story. What do you want to talk about?
Oh, I don't know, man. Tell me about. I know you do a lot of the Christian video cast on here. Well, it's like a lot of people get angry with you for some reason. I don't really know you that well, so I've seen a couple of the videos. So I don't know much about you, to be honest with you. So I'm not judging you or anything.
It's okay, bro. Skylight, I was like a lunatic last year, and then the year before I had this crusade with the militant atheists. But I've calmed down now, mate. I've chilled out now, so I don't do that kind of thing now. I'm just chill, bro. So,
I used to be I've kind of come to a new approach now, because when I originally started Google Hangouts, I came from a more agnostic, atheist kind of point of view, and would argue with people and get into these big debates. And I've lost the urge to do that. I'd rather just have discussions and kind of have back and forths and really just better understand each other.
Yeah.
Than to get in this, hey, you're wrong, this is evil, blah blah blah, and these kind of things. And
the point, I totally.
Well, I don't know, man. It's one of those things,
I totally agree with you, bro. Totally agree with you, mate.
Yeah, it's not worth getting stressed. And I honestly think, I'm one of these agnostics that, like, I kind of, in a weird way, if I'm not believing right, I'm not in the right area.
Yeah.
I trust that God is one day going to lead me there, in a sense. Like, if I'm not believing right, I'm not in the right direction right now. Like, I have enough trust that it's going to happen, in a sense.
Yeah.
Like, my heart is open to it. If I'm thinking the wrong way, I'm giving that opportunity. I'm not going to keep closed off to it.
So, what apologists do you like? Look at any apologists on the internet, like atheist or Christian? Like, do you ever listen to what they're saying?
Oh yeah, I mean, I hang out in some Christian groups. Like my friend Nate does a Christian show called Ask a Christian.
Yeah.
I really like him. I like I love what's his name? Oh god, he's clearing my mind right now. The guy who used to do radio shows for Winston Churchill, who did the Narnia books.
C.S. Lewis? No.
C.S. Lewis, sorry, I couldn't think of his name. I love C.S. Lewis.
Yeah, oh wow.
Yeah, he's great. But I don't listen to a lot of apologists now. I feel like my views have just kind of like if we were both to look at the Bible, right?
Yeah.
I read the book of Genesis a different way than you. Well, I mean, we both read it the same way, but how we interpret it, I interpret it differently.
Yeah.
I'm not one of these guys. I'm not one to argue for evolution or anything. I just don't know enough about it, and I'm not going to have an argument about it. Something that I just don't know enough about.
Yeah.
Like, to give you an example, let's say evolution was real, right? Just for the sake of it. Like, I find that if it was real, that's a much more beautiful way that God created something. To me, it shows complexity. The idea, so that would be, for instance, when I read in the Garden of Creation story, I feel like it's someone trying to describe something greater than they can understand.
Right.
And when we get into this literal story, when we think the idea of a literal, like there's a literal serpent talking, a literal tree of knowledge, if there's actually a physical tree where somebody could eat from and start to learn the difference between good and evil. To me, it's just, it's something deeper than that. And it may, maybe we understand it, maybe we don't. And I just don't, I don't buy into it. I just don't, I can't believe that that's a literal story. Everything screams metaphor or narrative. And like I said, it could have a message. Maybe the message of God is in that story.
Yeah.
But it's just, to me, it seems like there's nothing to make me believe that that's literal. If that makes any sense to you. I know you may disagree.
No, I appreciate what I can see. Trying to put myself in your position. Think from your position. I can understand why you would think that. You know what I mean? So, you know, if I was in your shoes, that's how I would be thinking.
Yeah. Like, something I heard a long time ago was that obviously everyone, I could say Jews believe this, but different sects of Jews believe different things.
Yeah.
That what that story was basically kind of like a parable or a metaphor for childhood, okay? And that when you're young, when you're a child, you're innocent. You're in the protection of your parents, the Garden of Eden. You're in the protection and safety. Yeah. And as you grow older, you hit puberty. You gain knowledge. You eat from the tree of knowledge.
Yeah.
The snake, or the serpent, temptation comes into the world. You're going to be tempted. Yeah. Men have to go work the field. Women have to have labor pains. You have to exit that safety of your parents.
Yeah.
And then, it's still about trusting God, because think about what God does in that story at the end. He still takes care of them. He kills the animals. He takes their skin. He clothes them.
Right.
But even though it's, even though temptation's there, even though it's going to be hard now that you're older, God still clothes you and cares for you.
So, so go on. Sorry, Sky. Go on, mate.
No. Go ahead. I'm done.
So would you say then, Skylight, that you would be willing to think about there is a God, but you would just take it metaphorically?
No. No. I think just that particular story is what I'm saying. Not that I think that God's metaphorical. There could be a God, a very real God.
Right.
But just that particular story is metaphorical.
Right. So, in terms of God, in your understanding of God, how, like, it seems like to me that, like, listening to you, it seems like you're the kind of guy who's firm-minded, where you've got your position, but it seems as if, like, you are open-minded.
Oh, sure.
Like, if someone, like, came with you with an argument or shared something that might be some kind of evidence or something, you'd be willing to consider it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And in fact, I enjoy hearing different perspectives. And
yeah. So, in terms of like what about like Islam and Christianity and Hinduism? Have you looked into, like, compare the different?
Yeah. I mean, I'm familiar with them. I have a Quran. I've read probably half of it. It's much harder to understand in English because of translation.
Yeah.
I mean Hinduism and stuff like that. I mean, that stuff just doesn't interest me. Hinduism's a polytheist, and I think even Hindus don't really believe that they're actual gods. I think it's more of a ceremonial, ritual thing. I don't think that some of them may genuinely believe that they're gods, but in the many gods, but I don't really think they believe that. I think it's kind of like Buddhism, where it's not really a religion, it's more just kind of a practice.
Yeah.
Than it is anything else.
Well, for me, I think the thing for me is, and it's different for everybody, but I always thought, I used to spend, like, when I was a teenager, I used to spend hours and hours reading psychology books and things like that, trying to find asking the question, well, there must be a meaning. If there is the things around us, there has to be a meaning. And so, for me, like, if there's no objective meaning, it means that the meaning of life is subjective, what we invent for ourselves. And to me, that I couldn't live with that because I felt that intellectually that what, even though it might seem honest, I didn't think it was honest to the reality around us. Because if we're saying that there isn't an ultimate meaning, then if I put this personal meaning on it, it's just a personal meaning, and on the grand scale, it's just a load of bull. And so for me, I always felt I was always trying to search. I read psychology, and I read like Bertrand Russell, and I was trying to, I was trying to read about things and and I just felt you got these different philosophers and they knock each other down, and I just thought there's got to be a meaning somewhere, but I didn't know where it was. And so I just wondered for yourself about where are you at in your journey in life? Like how do you rationally exist in like philosophically? What is it that motivates you? Are you happy? Are you happy having a private just meaning in life and don't need this objective meaning?
I guess yes and no. Like, I mean, in general, like I feel like it's the only thing I can experience right now. Like, it's the only thing I've experienced personally at this point is the subjective. But I think what the issue for me would be like is if there was some kind of objective meaning. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I feel like then we have to define what that objective meaning is, and we have to come to that conclusion. Like, how did we get there to this objective meaning? And does it match everything else? Does it match with what I see in reality?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking in the sense of like, there's an objective God, there's God, and I can't see him, therefore it's not real. I'm saying like, does the conditions we live in and the conditions around the world match what I would consider, if this objective morality put forward, if that makes any sense?
Yeah. No, totally, yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead, play, Jason. I'm sorry.
For me, I'm just discussing as if you were the best mate in a pub or a club. No, I'm not. But for me, I just feel that it's about Jesus and about who he is, what he said, and that for me, like a lot of atheists, it's about science, and not all atheists, but a lot of them come across to me as if like it's science and stuff. And for me, the most important thing is it's about this person Jesus and this connection with him. So that's where I'm coming from really, and I feel like that's where the objectivity is in looking at the history of Jesus, and did he die, did he rise again, and is that historically verifiable, and does his teaching, like you said, match up to reality? So that's where I'm coming from really. But in terms of yourself, do you have like is there something like in your mind? I know you said about reality, but is that reality like is it like I said, a lot of atheists, it's got to be like the only evidence that seems to be viable evidence to, not all atheists, but quite a lot of them that I talk to, is science. Mm-hmm. Is that your requirement, or do you feel like you're open to other kinds of evidence, like historical evidence or things like that? Or?
Yeah, well, and I'll be honest, sure, historical evidence is fine. I'm not going to strictly rely on science. Like, I'm not one of these, you have to physically prove it. But because obviously I don't think there's a way you could prove God either way with science, with or without, whether he's here or not. Yeah. What's more important to me is what people come to interpret and what they come to believe. Like, something that's always bothered me with certain Christians' interpretation of Christianity is that, like, this idea that, like, because of Adam and Eve, like, this sin is passed on, this sinful nature is passed on, and it's always bothered me because it's, in a sense, to me, it seems like we're damned because of the sins of Adam and Eve, like because of the sins of the Father. and it seems very unfair to me. That's why when I read that story, I don't think of it like it is. That's why I don't interpret it that way. Like, I believe people can. I believe in temptation, the idea that there could be sinful things. I could believe that. I'm not saying I do believe that, but I could believe that.
Yeah.
But I couldn't believe that everything's being passed down to me. Like, it just doesn't make rational sense to blame somebody else for something that I had honestly I had no way of stopping them from doing it. It'd be like my parent doing something. There's no other context that I've ever seen where that would be a rational thought. Like, there's no other context where you would blame the children for what the parents do if they had nothing to do with it.
Okay, I take your point, but imagine the president of Iran came on a summit in America and just got up and gave Obama a smack in the mouth. At that point, because he's the head of Iran and Obama is the head of America, it would precipitate in a war. It would be a complete, utter, like, major national crisis for both nations. And even though you as American weren't involved in that assault on your president, because your president represents you, it's going to affect you. So when Adam, in the Bible, there's two heads of the human race. The first head was Adam. The second head is Jesus. So if Adam would have been obedient and done whatever he should have done, then the human race would have inherited the blessings from his obedience as the head. But because of his disobedience, Christ being obedient, a new nation, a new dimension of people under the headship of Christ. So I understand where you're coming from about it seems unfair passing it, but for me, I think that's a good point what you're saying. But the way I try to understand it myself is the Bible definitely talks about headship, that Adam. It's in Romans chapter 5. It talks about by one man's disobedience many became unrighteous, by one man's obedience many became righteous. And there's this issue that for some strange reason I don't understand, that Adam was the head of the human race, and then when he messed up, the new head is Jesus Christ. So that's the way I understand it.
Does it ever seem though like it seems like it seems like a problem that could have been solved much quicker and long ago, in a sense, because obviously, and this is where I think to me, this is why I can't believe it, and I call it a contradiction. It might not be a contradiction, but it's the best way I can explain it as. Because let me ask you if you would agree. Would you agree that God wants a perfect, loving relationship with us?
Yeah.
It seems like that's throwing like a rock at it. You know, because you think about like all the things that came from them eating the apple and sin being passed on. Because we're talking about disease entering the world, human suffering. Yeah. I mean, anything that you can imagine that's horrible and terrible in the world is here because of that. And it seems counterproductive on God's part. And I'm not judging him. I'm just saying that from that interpretation, not your interpretation, but that's general interpretation, like it seems like it's counterproductive for God to allow Adam to be a representation. Because also, I mean, if we take that, I mean, you look at when it says it references the Trinity. I almost called it the trilogy. It references the Trinity very early on. Like it says, let us create man in our own image.
Yeah.
So before the creation of man, God created the solution to the problem. So it's like he creates the solution before the problem, and then, so to me it would seem like he would have to have known what was going to happen. And if he knows what's going to happen, and he knows what's going to, all this is going to lead to this, it just seems counterproductive. It just seems like, well, why not do it a different way? You know, like if you really just want a loving relationship with us, and you want to, you want us to love you, and you want us to, come to you in free will. I can understand that and respect that. God wanting us to do that and not forcing us to.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems very counterproductive to me. And then, I mean, and not to mention all the other stuff that has to happen because of this. Obviously, all the terribleness. And I'm not blaming God for the terribleness. I'm just saying that because of this, because allowing sin to be passed on, being a representative,
Okay.
I don't know. It just seems like if you're God, there's a simpler answer.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
I get your point, but this is how I see it. The way I see it, Skylar, is that first of all, if I just went with the skeptic, if I went with you or went with the skeptic and say, right, I agree with you, then I have bigger problems. Honestly, for myself, I would have bigger problems. For example, the problem that I would have is I wouldn't be able to talk about good and evil, and I'll explain why. I won't be able to talk about morality, because if we have evolved, if we've evolved, then for me, there is no morality, there is no right and wrong, there is no value. There just isn't. In the sense that a slug is the same value as your kids or whatever. It's the same value. So if I just go with being a skeptic, it does not make sense to me, mate. Even though I understand where you're from, and this isn't like an argument. I'm not like arguing. I'm just
No.
I'm just trying to share you because you're sharing your thoughts, and I'm just saying I do see what you're saying, and I think well, if I agree with you, then where does that lead me? And it leads me. For me, it would lead me. I don't get any answers by saying I believe in evolution and I've evolved, and what that implies then is that there is no morality. If there is a morality, it's just a morality that we invent, and it's a morality. The value that we have isn't real value. We're not really valuable in the scheme of things. So there's no good and evil. So we're left with, to me, the only option is that I have to have, if I'm going to get a meaning, if I'm going to get morality, I'm not saying that you seem like, I'm not just saying it, but you're a cool, down-to-earth guy, and people are good people. Even, I think, I'm sure you're a better person, even better person than me. But I think that for me, I couldn't sort of build anything from not having some kind of God or something, because there'd be no meaning, there'd be no morality. But that ain't saying that you're not a good person or an atheist isn't a good person. I'm just saying that I couldn't rationalize it in any way. And so when it comes to you talk about reality. For me, I do see the reality of the fall. I see the reality. The whole Old Testament is the.
Hey, Jason, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Hold that thought for later.
All right, Skylar.
The wife's making me come for dinner, and I can't argue with the wife.
I'm going to go in about 10 minutes, mate, because it's 5 to 12. But
okay, we'll have a discussion another day. Just call, just message me. I'd love to continue talking to you. I don't want to interrupt you. I know you're about to get into something good, so I don't want to give you.
Skylar, you're the top guy, mate. Love you, bro.
Dude, and one more thing, I want you to think about something. What you just said, okay? Yeah. And then you can keep some thoughts on it and get back to me.
All right, man.
Now, everything you were just saying about how you can't see morality in a sense like through evolution, okay?
Yeah.
Think about evolution as the how, not the why. Okay? What if it is more complicated? Maybe God did give us that morality, but through evolution in an overcomplicated way. But we don't need to get into that right now.
Okay.
But it doesn't change the fact God could have done it this way. I'm not saying He didn't do it that way. I'm not saying He didn't give you morality. I'm just saying maybe he did it in this crazy, complex, unbelievable thing.
All
That
right.
makes no sense. But we'll talk later, all right, buddy?
I'll chew on it, mate. Thanks a lot.
Definitely. Bye-bye, man.
Take care, mate. Take care. Okay, I'll just finish that thought. Skylight, good to talk to you, mate, and wish you all the best. And have a good dinner. On the issue of reality, for me, the reality of the fall, Adam sinning and the world in a mess. To me, I see that in reality. I see the history of the human race has been in a mess. And I believe when Jeremiah says the heart is deceitful above all things, I believe that it is mirrored, that the Old Testament mirrors the fall of humanity and shows us that humanity is fallen, and so therefore is verified historically. So that's how I see it. But I'm going to go in a minute, so I'm going to just check if there's any so I'm just going to okay. I'm just going to see if there's any questions here. It's Lasoyo, how you doing, mate? Are you still around? You can come on if you want to come on for a minute. He's just left a message. What? Anybody else left a message? Question mark. Everyone's a bit bemused what's going on. Anyhow, what else is there? A few more minutes and then call it a day. Yeah, so I am taking a break. And I have been taking a break, you can tell. Even though I've only made a couple of videos, I'm not really full swinging videos and everything like that. Alright. I took my uncle to this course tonight as well, called the Alpha Course. You get a chance, go on it. There's two courses. There's in America. There is in the UK. There's the Alpha Course, and then there's the Christianity Explore course. And last week we did a historical study. I don't know if you can see it. You see it there? We did about manuscripts and evidence for Jesus, and this week we looked at the death of Jesus. And basically the death of Jesus is, imagine this is Jesus, and imagine this is our sin, and basically Jesus was bruised for our iniquities. So this is Jesus, this is our sin. And it talks about in Isaiah 50:43, it talks about he was bruised for our iniquities, the chastisement of our peace was upon him, and he took our judgment, our sin, so that we might go free. And that's what we looked at tonight at the church that I've been going to, and I took my uncle. So that's what we looked at about the death of Jesus Christ. So there we are. What else is there to talk about? A student friend of mine who's a philosophy student been showing me his thoughts on Heraclitus, about the river. You know the river? If you stand in a river, is the river the same as it was the minute he stood in it? So he sent me his essay notes on Heraclitus the other night. I had a good chat with that, and there's another atheist guy who's into philosophy. I've had a good chat with him. What else is there? I'm starting to read through Kant's Critique of Pure Reason, and so I'm starting to read through that, and I'm going through lectures by Gordon Clark on apologetics, and he's been talking about religion and the definition of religion, and it's hard to get an objective definition of religion, which shows you that without knowledge of God we can't even come up with any objective definitions. Don't know what you think about that, but I thought that was interesting. I'm going through a course by Dr. Kelly at Reformed Theological Seminary, so I'm doing that. I'm enjoying that. What else is there? And I'm going through the Bible with Stuart Olliott. He's a Bible teacher on Know Your Bible website. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll close with my top 10 websites that I use. So I'm going to show you the websites that I use, and then I'm going to call it a day. Alright. So I'm going to show you the websites that I use. So if you're a Christian, don't forget to pray for my auntie tomorrow. Don't worry about these cyberbullies. I'm not getting worried about them. I'm just these atheist cyberbullies. Don't worry about it. Thanks for the atheists that have given me support and shown some friendship by asking me to go on Google Hangouts. I really appreciate that. If you can try and get me a debate with Matt Delunty, that would be great. I don't know about Bill Nye, he's a bit too famous. But if people could PM Matt Delunty and try to encourage him to debate me, because people, I think, would like to see that happen. Anyhow, let's have a look at some of the top websites that I look at. All right, I'll show you the I'll show you the websites that I like, that I go on. All right. Okay. This is True Forms. This is a website that I go on, and I've read. It's got a lot of Greg Banson's philosophy lectures and notes, and it's got a lot of presuppositional apologetic debates, as you can see in Greg Banson's history of philosophy notes there, and really enjoy that site. I've read most of Greg Banson's essays now, and really enjoyed it, really. What's the next one? The next place, one of the places that I like, is this place. This is bethinking.org. As you can see there, in the category section, there's a really good section, and a lot of the articles there from various top academics around the world. I think this site is run by students, and it's a great site. Loads of resources for defending Christianity there, and it's all top quality stuff, and it's a variety of stuff from the Bible to science to etc. It's one of the best apologetic sites that you can go on. The next one is this is Covenant Theological Seminary. If you go on Covenant Theological Seminary, you can go on free resources, and there you'll find on their iTunes or on this site here many courses that you can go on for free. You don't have to register, you can just go and listen to the lectures. Apologetic lectures, lectures on the Bible. This Covenant Seminary I go on quite a lot, I use quite a lot. And this is one of my main resources that I use in apologetics and in theology. The other resource that I use is Reformed Theological Seminary. Reformed Theological Seminary has free courses on iTunes, and I use this a lot. Tons of lectures on Bible teaching and theology and apologetics. So I would encourage you to actually study that. This is a major resource that I use. Okay. Just see if I can get it. Right, this site I use a lot for ancient sources. If I'm reading about the Gnostic Gospels, if I'm reading about the early Church Fathers, this is the site that I always go to. You've got leading scholarship on the New Testament, leading scholarship on the Apocrypha, leading scholarship on the Gnostics, and on the Church Fathers. This is a very important site for me. I go on this quite a bit. Next, what's the next one for me? What is it? This is a site that I go to on apologetics concerning Islam. This is the best site that you can go on. You can get rebuttals of Islamic scholars, introductory articles, very top site on Islam. And I use this quite a lot. What next? I'm just trying to think what's the next site that Monergism is a good place to go to. It's got loads of scholarly articles. You got on monergism, you got loads of lectures on Christianity, etc. So they are a major help to me. Website that I go to is this one as well, L'Abri Fellowship. They have free lectures that you can go to, so I'd encourage you to study that. Public Christianity is a good place for scholarship. You're doing scholarship, it's a very, very good place. I really find I've listened to nearly all the scholars on there, and I found that a very great resource. I think it's Fulham. Not full. Just trying to think. Oh yeah. I've listened to all of Gary Habermas's lectures, read all of his articles and everything. So it's a very helpful site that I found for apologetics on the resurrection. So I use this quite a bit. Just trying to think what else. Bible teacher, this is my favourite Bible teacher who's had a big influence on me. This is Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones. You can't understand me unless you understand Lloyd-Jones. So just show you. No, that's Martin Lloyd-Jones there. So yeah, Martin Lloyd-Jones. What's apologetics? This is another site that I use quite a lot. Apologetics 315. Very, very helpful. Yeah, so it's a very, very helpful site. Just wait until it comes on. Sorry about this. always happens, doesn't it, when you're trying to... So apologetics 315 is a very